Vishesh. Once again, good afternoon, all. Welcome to the Institutional Values Founders Day program. Today, we all gathered here to pay tributes to the great legendary PC Goyalji, who has created the valuation profession in India and also envisioning the valuation. I take this opportunity to call dignitaries on the dais. Now, I request P.K. Tyagarajan sir, President IOV, come on to the dais. Today's chief guest, Santosh Kumar Shukla ji, Executive Director, IBBI. Please come on to the dais. Now I request Mr. Vinny Goyal ji, Honorary General Secretary, MD and CEO of IOV RF, occupy on the dais. I request dignitaries on the dais. We can start the program with the lighting of the lamp. I request Chief Guest, President, and Vinay sir to. And also, I request Anita Agarwal ji, daughter of PC Goyal ji, Nisha Goyal ji, daughter-in-law of PC Goyal ji. Please come on to the dais and I request all council members to come onto the dais and pay the tributes to the PC Goel to the floral. Now I request Vinay Goel sir to present the welcome address to the gathering.
नमस्कार एक अविश्वसनीय रूप से शक्तिशाली मानवीय भावना है। यह कठिन होने पर भी आशावाद को बढ़ावा देता है। कमी, बिखराव, अपर्याप्तता या नाराजगी की भावनाओं में से प्रचुरता, पर्याप्तता और संतोष की भावनाओं में एक त्वरित परिवर्तन, कृतज्ञता। In English, you can say gratitude is an incredibly powerful. Gratitude brings about a shift in our perspective, a swift transformation from feelings of lack, scarcity, inadequacy, or resentment to feelings of sufficiency, abundance, adequacy, and contentment. Today, I stand before you to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation for a visionary leader, Shri P.C. Goelji, an individual who has envisioned and created the valuation profession. As we gather here today, we are reminded of his pioneering efforts, who had recognized the need for a systematic and rigorous approach to recognize the need of values to value assets, businesses, and investments at that period of time. Moreover, he has not only shaped the practice of valuation but has also fostered a community of professionals who share their passion and dedication. Through mentorship, knowledge sharing, and collaboration, he has nurtured a generation of experts who continue to advance the field of valuation and build upon their legacy. It was his vision only that makes IOV the single largest name in the field of valuation, not only in India, but the third single largest name across the world. IOV registered Value Foundation, which expanded the scope of IOV encompassing valuation under IBBI, also was his dream project, which is nurturing his vision in the right way. In his this short span of 5 years, IOV RVF not only became the largest RVO with almost 2,000 RVs and 30 RVs, but is also effectively achieving its mission, the value it provides to its members, the quality of its services, and its ability to gain recognition and trust within the valuation community. Friends, today I'm glad to share that today is the day when we have 5 years ago we completed the first batch of training, 50 hours training in India. That was the first batch we had completed on this day, 20th May. So it is a very significant day today, both ways, PC Goyalji and his dream for that matter. We believe that by equipping them with the right tools and resources, they can reach to new heights and achieve this as their aspirations. In this regard, to provide ease and security, we are pleased to introduce our new tools such as Ekta software and valuation surveyor course to overcome their challenges, unleash their creativity to make remarkable strides toward their goals. With the proliferation of data and the growing importance of data driven decision making, valuation professionals need to understand the value of their data assets, develop data driven valuation models, and provide insights on data monetization strategies. It's important to note that technology can be used as a tool to augment valuers' capabilities as it can never take place of their expertise. The human element of valuing, including subjective judgment, contextual understanding, and interpersonal skills, remains essential and cannot be replicated by technology itself. Also, as the valuation landscape evolves, valuation professionals are continually adapting their skills and knowledge to meet the demands of these evolving roles and provide valuable insights to their clients and organizations. These new roles require the specialized expertise in emerging areas. Hence, IOV, through its amended bylaws, have initiated various specialization courses to cater the changing landscape of valuation, such as marine valuation, impacts valuation, valuation surveyor, business valuation, insurance valuation, valuer, etc. Many of them are being covered at today's discussion by our eminent experts. Before concluding my speech, I just want to share my thought on future of valuation professionals to give it a new perspective, and that is the valuation consultant. Consultants provide specialized knowledge, expertise, and advice to clients to help them solve problems, improve performance, and achieve their objectives. Their role is to offer independent and objective insights, recommendations, and guidance based on their experience and understanding of the industry or field they specialized in. Valuers possess specialized knowledge and skills in assessing the value of assets and can provide accurate and reliable valuations. They stay updated with the latest valuation methodologies, industry events, and regulatory requirements. They work with a diverse range of clients and have extensive experience in conducting valuations. This expertise enables them to efficiently gather relevant information, analyze data, and provide timely and effective recommendations. They help to minimize the potential of errors, misjudgments, or miscalculations which could have significant financial or legal consequences. Rather than only involving in empanelment provisions or doing valuations by own, IOV's idea is to start using your valuable insights and expertise as valuation profession, which is highly regarded due to the critical role they play in supporting strategic decision making, accurate financial informations to stakeholders. Let's express our gratitude by not only acknowledging the pioneering effort and the avenue, the greatest of the avenues in India, he found as valuation as a profession, which used to be there, which we may say that it was like an occupation, but bringing in the institution, collecting members and gathering them together, the it was created. And why not then we have almost 20 branches of our country throughout the country. They are going to celebrate the Founders Day tomorrow, the 21st May, which is their real birthday. So, but today we are because of that only we decided to hold it today in Delhi in a physical manner. So, thank you all, and I hope this entire session will be useful and you will enjoy this session. Thank you again. Thank you. I would like to express my gratitude and thank you to our Santosh Kumar Shukla ji, ED, IBB, who has spared so much of time for us. Thank you much. And our president, Mr. P.K. Tyagarajan ji, who has come all the way from Trichy, Tamil Nadu, to grace this occasion. And we have with us our directors of IOV, Registered Valuer Foundation, Dr. Ashwini Kumar ji, Mr. K.S. Popli ji, Mr. Mukesh Kumar, amongst with our council members as well to collaboratively celebrate this occasion. So thank you again. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay sir. I think we are witnessing how the IOV is growing from generations to generations under your leadership, under your dynamic decisions. And I'm sure that it is going to be continued for the next generations too. Thank you so much for your inspiration words. And I request now our President P.K. Tyagarajan to address the gathering.
Most respected Santosh Kumar Shukla, Director IBBI, General Secretary Mr. Vinay Goyal, Council members, delegates, ladies, special invitees, and staff of IOV and IOV REF, good evening. I'm happy to be here to share my experiences or what I learned from our guru, the founder, Mr. Vinay P.C. Goyal. We worked together for some time, even though he was senior and guided me properly for the improvement. And that improvement is growing faster because of his vision and mission in this institution. Value has its value if it is valued. We have to accept this norm everywhere, the whole world. Cost is a fact, price is the policy, and value is an opinion. This is the vision and mission of our PC Goyal. He had dreamed, and the dream should come true because of his vision and mission. Let us take big measured steps for the profession and the values to be globally famous. Not only in India, he wants to be globally famous. There is hardly anyone who does not face challenges and problems in life. The intensity may differ, yet what is commonly experienced is a sense of despair when things spiral out of control. Faith and belief play crucial roles in boosting morale of the disparate. For not everyone has the inner strength to rely solely on their own intellectual resources to service extreme conditions. The valuation profession is like this only, like your life. Conditions are extreme, but you have to give your thought over it and then give it. And There is in a Turkish proverb, if speaking is silver, listen is gold. I am only a silver, but you are all gold. What PC Goyle told us, it is going to be diamond for both of us. Okay? That is his dream. Silver, gold, and diamond. Then think of him, then how he is doing it. And he has told several times to me, Tyagarajan, please listen thrice, think twice, and speak once. That has guided. Before I talk to you or anybody, he has taught me that is proverb. And that's why I am standing in front of you. While I was working with him or together, there are few photographs which shared for you during our close relationship in one of the functions. Go ahead one by one, all the 5 or 6 photos. Please show it. Okay. Then another important thing, any letter from anybody, you will get a reply. Those days, inland letter cover will come to you in any part of the country for the letter reply. That is his first response. Second, when he started that Indian Value Journal, those days he will not give it in one post box. He take all the books, put it in 5 or 6 places, tell the people, you go there and put these 100 books there. You go there, put these 200 books. So that what he thinks, if he put everything in one box, it may go or it may not go. Even for value journal, for distribution those days, he has taken much care because that is the knowledge given to all the values of the country, not that particular day, even for the future one. His forethinking in every aspect, we have to learn a lot, even though he is not here with us, but still from heaven he is guiding us. That's what I feel. Most of you may not be discussed with him. I had close contact for several years. And that's why I am standing in front of you on this great gentleman. The founder, PC Goyle. Why? What he said, the pioneer who changed India's valuation profession. It is his ideas, his commitment, his passion that still fuels our expansion and growth. Upwards and onwards from being India's most trusted valuation profession into a global mindset towards the global market. Maybe we continue to be guided by your values. Nowadays, consumers are looking at value over price points. Keep it in mind. Consumers are looking at the value over price points. Even now or online, anybody is blessing us from heaven. That's why the valuation profession by the Institution of Valuers started on 1968, October 2nd, on this birthday with a small seed. Now it is gone as a big banyan tree all over the country. And his vision not only in India, globally. That's why now General Secretary is taking that matter to go for globally. Anywhere in the world, we, the valuers from Institution of Values, will show their gratitude and show their knowledge and give the correct input. That is going to help in a way or other this profession, most respected profession in the country, is going to give the development or the improvement of the economy of our country. We hope for the best. And director is here. I spoke to him certain things. We are taking to the next level all the values of country. Okay, we hope for the best. Please stand 1 minute and pray for the soul. Please stand 1 minute and pray for him with your folded hands. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jagarajan sir, sharing your memories with PC Goyal sir, and very nice words. Now it's time to hear from the today's chief guest, Santosh Kumar Sukla. Sir, he is Executive Director, IBBI. He has a vast experience. He worked in the field of law, finance, securities, and banking industry. In the SEBI, he is the instrumental for SEBI, Security Boards of Security Exchange Board of India, the securities market regulator. In SEBI, he has responsible for SEBI policies, initiatives, and legislations that affect the securities industries in India. And also, sir is worked regulating. He has been a part of the U.S. Secretary and SEBI Corporation on Securities Enforcement and Market Oversight, with focus information sharing and investigating the cross-border traders. Sir, now it's the time for hear from you. Thank you so much for attending. Please.
Thank you so much for, of course, very exhaustive introduction, but of course, I am just one of you. So, Mr. P.K. Tyagarajan, sir, Mr. Vinay Goel, all distinguished professionals, ladies and gentlemen present in this hall, and also those joining online. A very good evening to you all. I am really humbled and feeling honored to be invited in this gathering when we are celebrating the Founders Day of the IOV, a very well thought of vision, I think, which was far ahead of time when today we are discussing about the structured valuation system. This great soul brought out an institution which was dealing with the valuation things in an organized manner. Of course, we all know that the valuation in India has been very old. It is not something new concept. We had been valuing the everything when we buy anything that we give the value or we want the value. Of course, that has converged somewhere in the pricing. But to start with, the societies were looking at the value that when you change the wheat for a piece of cotton, you will be definitely not going to the price. You will be looking at the value of the wheat and the value of the cotton. Many attempts had been made to make this valuation standards and valuation system as in organized manner, and they have not worked for some other reasons. But as we all know that law does not develop the society. Society develops its own. When societies were in primitive things, we framed our own rules, regulations for our societal behaviors. So in this line, I think the steps taken by the great soul, Mr. P.C. Goel, needs to be applauded, and he needs to be remembered for these things that he started something. He did not think that there was no law for the valuation, so why should I start an institute? Why should I start this field? So that vision, I think we can think and we can also try to imbibe in ourselves and see that how best we can serve the society, serve the industry, serve the businesses, serve the economy, and ultimately serve the world. So as you all know that the law in this sense has been very absent. The bill introduced long back, discussion happening in 2005, then 2008, then again in 2019. Still it is being deliberated and discussed, still the business is growing. So what does it mean? It means that we ourselves can develop the things. We ourselves can stand up, take the challenges, and take on the tests brought out before us. And I think we have the capacity to pass through. If a visionary like PC Goel in 1968 could think such great thing, we are having this help and assistance of so many infrastructure, technology, regulator, government, RBUs. Why can't we rise to the occasion and solve our own problems? Anyway, coming to the regulatory structure, briefly, if I may touch upon, you know that in 2017, the rules came to be made in under the Companies Act, and when the registration system of the valuer system was brought out, of course, we faced resistances from the society because any rule and additional burden put, you face resistance. When we brought out the examination system, we faced the resistance. But today we are witnessing people are wholeheartedly coming forward and appearing for examinations. I think around 4,000 individuals and the institutions, 14,000 have appeared for the examinations, and out of them, I think 5,000 or something more have cleared. Today we are having more than 5,000, approximately 5,200 registered valuers. Out of that, 10% are women. That is also a very heartening thing to note. Average age today is 48 years, but I wish that the average age of the profession should come down. The individuals, the young professionals should take this profession wholeheartedly. That should be our one goal, where we can bring in the new generation with new ideas and with new zeal and enthusiasm who can take the professionals to a greater heights. So that could be perhaps our goal, that we can think of creating value in the profession. Of course, sir said that value is a value when it is valued. But I always say that everything has a value and we also have a value. Value is a noun, value is a verb, value is adjective. And this profession is having everything. In what connotation you talk about value, the asset should be valued, a valuer should value, there should be valuation. And we are talking today about the maximization of the value. So there the registered valuers have a very great importance and very pivotal role. The first time the law mandated under the IBC that the valuation of the assets should be done by the registered valuers. Don't we think that this was a greater responsibility but with a greater confidence? That why not any other valuer could do it, because this system, the entity has been in the market, they had been valuing, but why you need a failing firm which was viable, or we were dealing with the failing firm which was not viable. So we have to give a fair value, liquidation value. So we need very thorough professional, highly qualified and highly competent, with greater integrity and values in himself, to value the assets which are under distress. But there is a great societal demand on that, and of course the national demand, that the public money which is stuck somewhere is giving productive use for the best interest of the economy and the society. So that is how the role and the importance of the registered valuers is underlined in the law today. And today, you know that the policy level thinkers are talking that every value in the India should be assessed, asset of the value should be assessed and valued by registered valuers. Today there is a talk in the FSDC, of course the other institutions and are also now looking for you to value the assets under their regime, be it securities industry, income tax, wealth tax. Today FSDC, I think the last meeting discussed this also, that the registered valuer should be valuing the assets of the entire economy. So why it is so happening? Because people have found value in you. The policymakers are looking up to you because they have found value in your valuation. So we should take that challenge. Today, the very apt topic has been brought out, that is the valuation of unfolding the avenues. If we think around, we find a lot of avenues to develop in this valuation system. We are also facing challenges, and we are, of course, able to deal with them, but I think we need to upgrade ourselves. The first challenge, if I may mention, is the technological advancement. I think sir was talking about, but technology is helping you. At the same time, technology is also creating trouble for you. Because ultimately, the subjective assessment cannot be given by the technology. You cannot create an algo and solely rely upon their algo for the valuation of the assets. But at the same time, there are tools, many evaluators are using also, they are helping. So the use of the technology, I think, is a very, very necessary thing today. And for that, I think the young professionals perhaps could be a better asset. Of course, we at our age also, I think we need to cope up and stand up and try to reach that height where we can do better service. The second challenge I think is coming today in the new environment is the globalization of the businesses. Today the business is having globalization where the global challenges are being faced in that sense that the assets are, we are dealing with multinational businesses that where the assets are lying in the other jurisdictions. So we have to be able to understand the local needs, local laws, local systems. This is another challenge. The third challenge I could think that is this: today you might be, and you are aware, in fact, that the ESG factor, it is also being now counted and factored in the value of the assets and the value of the enterprise. Today we are talking about the value of the enterprise, value of the assets. There who are different, you know better than me. But if you see the valuation, I think the challenges of which you face in each case is different. When you value the intangible and when you value the tangibles, you find different challenges. But there is a great avenue today in the valuation of the intangibles. And you all know the businesses where there is no asset, actually there is only a brand value or the customer data or any particular brand value. If you make assessment of the value of that business, is totally the parameters and the thinking and the standards would be different from the valuation of the plant and machinery. What I am trying to say is that these businesses also challenge, the systems also create challenges for you. So with this, I think the avenues are wide enough. I think as the business grows, the challenges will cope up. The institution and the industry has to cope up with this. The government has created a regulator. The other aspect of how to develop this industry, I think a lot has been done, and I would like to congratulate the RV of particularly that they had been very, very keen and very, very enthusiastic in imparting training and the professional expertise. Today, the regulator has been given the task of registering and regulating, and then giving the professional uh, training. But I think the rules also talks about the standards. Today, we don't have any specified standards under the rules, but rule enables us to have the standards, either the international standards or the standards given by any other RVO. One of the RVOs have these standards. We are discussing about the standards for the insolvency process, and I look forward to the RVF to help us and assist in that. Hopefully, we will be definitely reaching some track on that, and we will develop some standards. We are very much hopeful about that. So friends, with this, I would like to close talk, and I wish you all the very, very, very best. And again, congratulations to Mr. Vinay Goyal and my heartfelt tribute to the great soul, Mr. P.C. Goyal. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Shukla sir, reminding the importance and role of register valuer and the challenges in the valuation profession. So I think a big round of applause required for the today's chief guest address. Thank you very much, sir. A token of gratitude, I think it's a time for felicitation. I request President sir and Secretary sir, Vinay sir. a shawl and a memento. Now we have a book release, Compound Yes, the publication containing of transcript of speeches delivered at IVC 2022 Guwahati. I request dignitaries on the dais and I request Neeraj sir, Pichaya sir, Nitin Lele sir, Hemant sir, Ramana sir to join for releasing of this book. Hemant sir. Thank you. On this special day, we wanted to recognize today's sponsor and a digital tool provided uniting values aspirants. Evalvo, Mr. Sudhakar sir, please come on to the dais.
President Tyagarajan sir, Honorary Secretary Shri Vinay Goyal sir, Chief Guest of the Day, respected Shri Santosh Kumar Shukla sir, the respected council members of IOV and IOV RVF, honorable flag holders of the profession, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a warm afternoon. It's indeed an honor and privilege for eValor to be a part of this event commemorating the birth anniversary of visionary Shri P.C. Goyal ji. And I thank IOV and IOV RVF for giving us this opportunity for being a part of this event. Valuation has stood the test of time. From ancient days of Ashoka's to Chanakya's Arthasastra, valuation has its space. But what it lacked was probably a distinct, unique professional identity. Born on 21st May 1926, P.C. Goyal completed his architectural and engineering degree in England in 1950. While pursuing his architectural career, PCG realized a gap in the field of valuation. Motivated by this realization, he embarked on a mission to establish a dedicated universe for valuation, something which he alone could see, a gap which he felt was there, a space which was otherwise merged with engineering or with architecture. He realized that there was a space for valuation, and that universe could eventually be doing something as big as whatever it has done today. He aimed to create a space where valuation could thrive on its own, with its own identity, culture, and values. To accomplish this mission, he carefully selected a group of like-minded people, a team of about 8 people, to build this unique universe. While he conceptualized this vision, its realization required strategic decisions, and thus he stepped behind and made a brigadier as the leader of IOV. He didn't hold the post, he rather allowed a brigadier to hold the post of driving the organization while he continued to be the secretary. To ensure the profession's growth nationwide, he empowered different regions, assigning specific roles within IOV for North India and South India. I was amazed. There are specific roles in IOV which will have to be filled by people in North India and people in South India. This he formulated at a time when the North India South prevalent in this country. He bridged that in this profession to make sure the valuation grows across the country. Within 1 year of its establishment, the Institution of Value has attracted nearly 450 members. Within 1 year, it had 450 members. And Shuklaji, you may actually be surprised to understand that at that point in time, the first members were retired government officials who were revenue officers. So the average age of members at that point in time in 1970 was 67 for those 450 members. And within 1 year, I mean, just after that, individuals who sought the exposure of valuation joined Sri PC Goyal, sir. And mind you, he was also a man of extreme, very high financial acumen. Not only did he increase the number of members, but will you believe within 1 year of operation, he made a fixed deposit of 30,000. Way back in 1970, he made a fixed deposit of 30,000. And that is a part of his first lecture in the Indian Valuers Conference. Recognizing the need for governmental accreditation, he realized that it was extremely crucial. He went ahead and fought a legal battle for 30 years for getting exemption for the donations received by Institution of Valuers. See, for 30 years, he's fought for a IT exemption. Amazing. When what started, yeah, yeah. What started with a modest group of 9 members in 1968, the Institution of Valuers now holds 31,000 members, thus exemplifying Sri PC Goyal's grand vision. His legacy lives on through the Institution of Valuers, which provides training, certifications, and support to valuation experts throughout the country. And I just recall one of the founding notes of his in 1970s, wherein he'd say he's written clearly, the profession is helpless. All along, he's spoken about the profession. And he's marketed the profession. He's taken the profession along with him. And in light of PCG's remarkable contributions and profound significance of his work, I propose that we officially designate his birthday as Valuation Divas, for the simple reason that this was the day that valuation started getting its own identity. And this day will serve as an annual celebration of the valuation profession, paying homage to PC Goyal's unwavering dedication and instrumental role in establishing and nurturing the growth. And as a gesture of reverence, eValo wishes to present a bust of Sri PC Goyal, and may now call upon President Sir and Honorary Secretary, and of course, if possible, the family members of PCG to be on the dais for a moment, please. So once again, thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you and a warm evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sudhakarji. It's a wonderful gift you have given to the family members. Thank you so much. Not only family members, it is for the entire fraternity. Thank you so much. Today we have a one significance, 28th May, a historical day for IOV RBF. It has been 5 years since IOV reached values. First batch of values completed their 50 hours MEP training. Entrusting their careers in the professionally experienced hands at carefully stepping ahead with the new system in place. 430 batches, 7,400 members. Great, sir. Thank you. I think it's a great day. Once again, I request everyone to congratulations to all IOV RVF team. IOV RVF received an award for emerging company from Indian Achievers. Madam, kindly. Oh, I think big round of applause required. Thank you. And IOV received ISO 9001 and 26,000 for their providing quality services. I think now the time for panel discussion. Yeah.
Mortgage valuation process.
वीडियो डेमो वीडियो चले अनाउंस कर देंगे ना सर डेमो वीडियो एक डेमो वीडियो भी अनाउंस कर
We have a now a releasing of PACTA is the valuers
Mortgage valuation process got easier
I
with
think
eValu, the
I
web
request
application.
Sudhakar sir to introduce this PACTA.
Mortgage valuation process got easier with eValu, the web application that integrates modern tools and analytics. And now we are joining hands with IOV and announce the launch of Ekta, our latest valuation software, exclusively for its members. Our platform is designed with small and medium-sized businesses in mind, so you can streamline your workflow and make the most of your time. Ekta simplifies valuation by offering a mobile app designed for site engineers, coupled with cloud-based storage. This integration allows for convenient access to historical data anytime and anywhere, while being securely hosted in IOV's robust cloud environment. Ekta empowers you with your data, ensuring that you always have ownership of it and enabling you to make well-informed decisions with greater speed than ever before. With automated invoicing engine, Ekta lets you to seamlessly and effortlessly raise invoices and manage your collections. Register today and experience the power of Ekta. Ekta, uniting valuers' aspirations.
Thank you. Thank you. So friends, it's indeed a glad moment. I mean, on the day of PCG, we are having a new product which is getting rolled out. It's been a lot of work which has gone behind this product. 3.5 years of discussions with IOV, and last 6 months has been actually hectic. Now, what is it that you can look forward in this product? I mean, this is a seamless work tool which integrates with your existing processes without any major training. The goal that we had is that the product should be usable in 24 hours. Someone subscribes to it, he starts using it. What are all the complex areas? We have kept that separately. Which are all the areas where valuers need support, and what is it that they are looking for at a most affordable, adaptable, and accessible parameters were considered, and this product was designed. And the unique aspect of this product is that this application, the entire software application, gets hosted in IOV's server, which means it is no longer with a software company. Generally, members of the fraternity were concerned about the data security. That was a major concern they had. Now what happens, this application is now hosted in IOV's server, where no database at all. Absolutely no database. It is just like a courier agency or like a Paytm, where you yahan se jab niklega wahan jayega. बस उतना ही. It starts from here, goes there, and Paytm is just an interface. The same way this application also will be an interface. Right from the beginning, Evalo has been extremely clear about that. We will not store any data. We are a software company, as simple as that. So our job is about software. We build software. So we are not a data modeling or data aggregation company. That's data is yours or with the institution. I mean, you can handle it. What is also unique about this product is that Ekta is designed only for IOV. It is offered only for IOV's members at a discounted pricing, which will be announced as we move forward. And you have an option of storing your data both in Google Drive or in AWS Cloud. Both the options are available, and automated invoicing feature is also integrated for the first time. In fact, quite a few Evalo subscribers also may not be exposed to it, but Ekta now comes up with an automated invoicing feature wherein you initiate a case and automatically it gets into your invoicing model. So these are some of the unique features which are embedded into the product. As we move forward, we'll get to share more information about the product. And if there be any few questions, I mean, a couple of them. Yeah. Couple of questions for now. So now we are, as of now, it is open. We've kept it generic, but as it moves forward, it will be focusing on property valuations. It's designed for up to 600 valuations per year to begin with. Once we start scaling the cloud capabilities, it can go up to 6,000, 10,000, 15,000. It is expandable. On Evalo side, there are about 25,000 valuations which are happening per firm and stuff like that. So it's absolutely scalable. Cloud is scalable. So as of now, you can use to store your data safely in cloud for a P&M valuations that you're doing. You can certainly subscribe to Ekta, but you can preserve your data in a cloud environment in a seamless manner. That Ekta can do it, yes. So format remains the same as whatever you're doing right now. It remains the same. You upload this into the platform and it delivers it into your cloud server. So as we move forward, the standardization of report formats will be happening. one bank, one India, one software, one format. The model is getting worked out. We are in touch with IOV and to standardize the report delivery system, because it's a pain for the valuers. Indeed, a pain area. We are trying to solve it. Yeah. So I think there are other programs which are lined up. Let me not take much of your time. I thank you all once again and looking forward for your support and continued support on the success of Ekta. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Vishesh. Now it's time for panel discussion. For this panel discussion, moderator Sunil Agarwal, Mr. Sunil Agarwal. Mr. Sunil Agarwal has over rich experience of 26 years. 26 years of experience in the field of real estate sector, and he is the founder of Black Olive Ventures, a real estate advisory services company where he advises over 76 banks and finance institutions on land and building valuation. And he has undertaken training for over 15,000 valuers across the India. Previously, he was co-founder and CEO of South Asian Real Estate, a private equity-backed real estate development firm. He also served as a vice president at private equity from ICICI Ventures and has held senior positions with HSBC, DS Group, Polaris International, and Chestran McGraw. Now it's called JLL India. Sir, Sunil sir, dias is for you.
Thank you, Madhu. And now I think the second phase of the program. But before we begin, my heart goes out to Shri PC Goyal ji for many reasons. One, there's a very famous novel. It's called Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and it is the story of a bird who basically flies in a very different manner. And then what happens is there are these regulators who put this bird in the Hall of Shame. So, for trying different things, people are often penalized. It is very difficult for people to set out something which is very different. And, thinking of 1968 and with all this vision to have a, valuers association really is very laudable. I graduated in 1992, and then somebody said, retirement ke liye, you have to do something called valuation, because बहुत सारे civil engineers जो है retirement में valuers बन जाते हैं. And so unknowingly, knowingly much about valuation, I became a life member of IOV because that was the only one that was available. And then I had to find the address, Mukherjee Nagar wala address, and then deposited some 8,000 rupees for life membership, became a member, kept getting those, reports or the journals for many years. And then I found myself in what was called a real estate firm. So India में तब real estate firms बहुत कम थे. 1995, nobody knew real estate, nobody knew real estate valuations, and I found myself doing these valuations, across, various geographies. तो हम एक RICS से बड़े governed रहते थे because I worked for an international firm. So RICS was the, the standard to go for, and there was something called Red Book. उसकी copy हमें कभी मिलती नहीं थी. So we always wondered that what is an institution that doesn't even share the valuation standards. तो बड़ी मुश्किल से एक चोरी करके, I hope everybody follows Hindi. So in the year 2000, as late as 2000, there was one book that was called the Red Book, और वो हमको पढ़ने को मिली, and then I found, what are the various standards, etc., and the rules by which you go. But at the IOV level, there was always a transparency. You always found various case studies being dealt by various members who contributed, and therefore, one was, little slightly ahead of curve. Uh, and then we found that, the law came in and this whole, IBBI regime came in, and we all started to do work in a very different regime. So this, I think, is again a story of the same Jonathan's, bird, which tried to do different things. Uh, and then the story of the novel ends by saying that there are many such, seagulls that he trained who will go out and spread this message across the world. So I think this is a very short version of what, at least what you heard in the first session. Uh, just to take a cue from that session and then sort of invite the panelists on the dais. Uh, there are values who do land and buildings, plant and machinery, what is called SNFA, which is securities and financial assets, business valuations. This is what is the bulk of what we do today. But there are many more fields like gold or jewelry valuation. There is animal stock, life, valuation. There is plantation valuation. There is mining valuation. There are a lot of these valuations which still have to be dealt with. And I think IOV will have a long, journey trying to put these professions first in place, and then sort of trying to. And what somebody once said, that what is the valuation that you think is the most common valuation, but we always ignore it. So I said, the day I don't know, this will never come, but values will start valuing human emotions, you know. So we do value, human emotions always. You look at a person, you say, "इससे मेरी बन सकती है, नहीं बन सकती है," or the guy is, is compatible for being a business value or not. But there is this internal logic that works. Maybe it is the dressing style, maybe it is वो कैसे बोलता है, कैसे चलता है. I don't know. There's a complex logic that the mind has, but human emotions you find in valuations as well, you know, because what you are and what your training is, what you see of the, promoter, his assets, somewhere there's a bias. It's very difficult to do an unbiased valuation, but we all strive for that unbiasedness. And therefore, valuation gurus say that the best valuation is when you don't know the owner, you don't know the company's name, and you're just given an asset and you have to value it. So on that note, I'll invite an extremely, distinguished panel we have. uh, Two parts to the panel, because there are 8 and there are 5 chairs now on the dais. So I was told that there are 7 people, 2 still short. So what I had done was I have, divided the panel into 2 parts. One, obviously, I don't say that old school, but that is something that people already know about, and therefore first round of, what one knows as, as values, and the next round is something which is very distinguished, very different. Some of us don't know about it. So the very first, panel member that I'd like to call on the stage is Mr. Pichaiya. So, Mr. Pichaiya, please come on the stage. Mr. Pichaiya has done over 25,000 valuations over his career of 4 decades. He is the chairman of the Coimbatore chapter of IOV, and he is also the chairman of the Valuation Standards Board of IOV. His contribution to IOV is immense, and whenever we look at, somebody full of knowledge yet so humble, it is Mr. Pichaiya. So, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. The second panelist, you've seen him, you've seen his prolific ways and the way he's trying to contribute to this profession by making this profession very digital. So, Sudhakar, can we have you on the stage? I don't need to introduce you, but Sudhakar comes from a background which is largely into the real estate space. He's done a lot of underwriting for a lot of, projects, and then he kind of is a professional who does many more things than just the software that you saw. True entrepreneur, and one that I quite respect. So, Sudhakar, thank you for being here. And the third panelist today I want to invite is Dr. Abhay Kumar. Abhay Kumar ji, आप please dais पे आएं. So, Abhay Kumar ji is also a multifaceted personality. He's dabbled with engineering, software, and has worked with government institutions, does a lot of training on variety of subjects, including valuations. He's also a member of IOV. Very privileged to have Abhay sir on the dais. And Abhay sir is going to tell us about the reliance of valuations in the insolvency process. So the format that I thought before we dive into this question and answer session will be that we'll give 5 minutes to each of these speakers to sort of say about the so-called innovations that they're doing or the changes that are happening in their domain. So Pichaya sir for standards, obviously digital valuations Sudhakar, and insolvency, Abhay sir. And then we'll sort of open this up. While I am the moderator, I would urge that this is a gathering where I think people should also raise up and the hand if they're free to ask a question, sort of quiz the panelists, because these panelists are very difficult to find otherwise. So you should use your time to sort of ask and clarify whatever you think you can. So over to you, Pichaya sir, followed by Sudhakar and then Abhay. Sure. I7.
Thank you, Sunil, for the nice and not so very acquired address. A very good evening to all the valuer friends. It's indeed a great pleasure for me to be part of this program. In fact, I just wanted to talk something about Mr. P.C. Goyal because, as Sunil pointed out, I belong to the old generation. My number is F1842. I'm quite old. I'm 67 years, coming from Coimbatore, a small place in Tamil Nadu. So, in fact, in those days, now when I joined my father's firm in 1977, now it's almost 46 years, I've been doing this valuation. I used to wonder that, in all other professions, they had a very big, organizations. And when I became a professional valuer, there was no such big organization except IOV. And at that point in time, they had about 40 and odd centers all over India. So, growth. Now I think they have 50 plus centers and about 31,000 members. So one thing, I had worked with some of these organizations like, engineers and then Bureau of Indian Standards. So I just thought that, there are so many organizations coming up in different areas, so many organizations, so many enterprises are started every day. But not all of them survive. I think my assessment of things is that an organization which is now visioned or conceived normally by many people, but only those with a vision, zeal, and character can only come to this kind of, this level of existence. We all know that it's more than 50 odd years, and we have assembled from all over India. And now that we are occupying an important position in the scheme of things, and we are working with the government and the regulators. So it's a great, not only an achievement, but a great service to the valuers fraternity, what Mr. P.C. Goyal has given all of us, this very noble and prestigious institutions for coming together and carry forward our profession. So I please direct or half of my time. So coming to the standards, 5 minutes is too small a time. See why standards are important. I just wanted to give a completely different perspective from the standard board. In fact, I have worked with the Government of India IBBA committee and in the Valuation Standards Board. Now it has been transformed into what you call a Valuation Standards Advisory Board. A completely restructuring is happening. In fact, why now things are looking up? All of you know that we are more frequently meeting than ever before in the past. And we have started talking about standard compliant valuations. It's the first time ever now people talk about standards. This has not happened. That itself shows that we are into some exciting and what you call new scheme of things. So why this is, this is important. Standards are important. I think all of you know about the Estate Duty Act 1953. It is more than about 70 years old, where first time any statute in India brought in the registration of valuers, Estate Duty Act. That was the first time anywhere in the statute a term called the registered valuer came into existence. And then came in 1957, immediately after 4 years, then came the Wealth Tax Act, that is 1957. That also followed the same thing, that there was registered valuers under the Section 34 AB of the Wealth Tax Act. So these were found to be the milestones where the profession of valuation came into India. But unfortunately, both these acts were very good, very good intent with the intentions formed with the intentions, very good intentions by the government. And now both acts do not exist in the statute. Both of them are repealed. So I thought it is better all of us understand, because almost all of us are Section 34 AB valuers. But we do not know exactly what are the reasons why the act could not survive. Even in the world, in developed countries, both these, in some form, estate duty or death duty or whatever is still there. And wealth tax is in some form or the other, it is there. Why it failed in India? That's purely because we didn't have a valuation standard. Why? Because there was, the evolution did not contemplate a kind of, a standard to be there in place. The estate duty, it was started in, it came into existence in 1953 and abolished in 1985. What are the reasons? No, during the course of, after the statute was framed, the government, the assessees, and these are the major stakeholders. And there was some kind of regulation, and some regulator was there called controller of estate duty or somebody. And there was some department functioning. And it was so, the act was there, the rules were there in place. For registration, they had a rule, but there was no rule or comprehensive guideline on how to do the valuation. So the stakeholders had something in their mind, the regulator had something in mind, and the government had something in mind. They had diverse needs, diverse understanding. So any statute without understanding, then stakeholder perceptions will never survive, even though it's a very important act. Similarly, coming back to one of the difficulties about Estate Duty Act is that it was felt that those were taxed were the legal heirs of the deceased persons. So they were not able to pay the taxes. Either they had to sell off the estate and then pay the taxes. And there are no rules. And the controller of estate duty was not a qualified person. And only persons who were qualified were registered engineers. Of course, they were just valuers. But there was no comprehensive rule or standard. So that led to a lot of complexities. And ultimately, the government felt that they could not proceed the continuing the act, and it was abolished in 1985. Wealth tax, most of us know. Of course, the failure of Wealth Tax Act was not only due to the complexities, but also due to some pressures. It could be. I hope that it will come back. Not because of valuers, but I think it is an important canon of taxation. So in the wealth tax also, the same sections were there for registration, but again there was some kind of guidelines for doing the valuation. And there also the perception of the perspectives of the stakeholders, that is the assessees, the chartered accountants, and the valuers, and the government and the regulators, was not very clearly defined. And it led to a kind of litigations, and the courts could not find what is the correct value, what the government intended to do, and how to tax it, whether the department is right or the registered value is right. So this led to a lot of litigations, and it went up to Supreme Court. And ultimately, it was found that the cost of the litigations were almost equal to the cost of, the tax generated. So the government felt it was not useful to continue it. In 2016, it was abolished. So from the standards perspective, I analyzed this because I did a lot of work on estate duty and wealth tax, a lot of valuation assignments. I would like to say that any statute which does not consider the perspectives and expectations of the stakeholders will never survive. But we hope that the Section 247 of the Companies Act, which gives us the valuation rules, and the IBC has now again brought us into the front line. I am sure that they cannot abolish Companies Act like wealth tax or registry duty. I am sure that IBC cannot also be abolished. So at least for the time being, we are safe. But there are a set of very robust rules in the form of companies registered values and valuation rules. That's the biggest hope. And this is the first time in a statute which talks about valuation standards. And I think the IBB director was also talking much about, during the first meeting of the committee, and I attended, almost 15, 20 experts were there. Almost all of them had the same perception that if I get a valuation done by two valuers, the difference is about 30% or even 50%. Sometimes it is double. This is the perception people had. I think now after 4 years, 3-4 years, it has completely changed. Maybe because of the understanding of the scheme of things by them. And also, I'm able to see almost a significant number of valuers have started doing valuations based on standards, and standards compliance has become very, I won't say 100%. I think we are moving towards that. So with that, we move towards 100% standard compliant valuation. Otherwise, we are going to face challenges, not only legal, but an existential crisis will be there. So I think we should not lose this opportunity. We are going to have a lot of sections under which valuations are required to be done by registered valuers. It's a great opportunity, but the responsibility is now on us. We need to provide robust valuations, and we need to be 100% standard compliance. So if time permits, I'll come back to you on the same subject and talk a little more about what IOV and the Standards Advisory Board is contemplating for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pichaiya. Sudhakar, you've been on the forefront of digital revolution as far as valuation space is concerned in India. Very rightly, the data concerns privacy, etc. So where is it going to? I mean, this whole digital revolution of valuations, automated valuations, people are talking that values will not be required. When you press a button and with data combined, you will get a value, which is also one of the hot topics of discussion. So how do you see the landscape, and where is it that you see the true picture lies?
Yeah, thank you. With regard to ABM, personally, what I would rather wish to share is that across the globe, you look at any of the developed countries, the accuracy ratio is just about 62%. I mean, an ABM predicts a value on an average in 62 out of 100 instances is where it gets closer to 90-95% of the actual market value. So most of these modelings which are being spoken about, I wouldn't really call them as valuation modeling. It's nowhere close to valuation. It's honestly nothing to do with valuation. I mean, if you look at America, there are few pockets in America where the property itself has become a commodity. It's like exchanged. It's like traded at a particular price because the features, the factors, the conditions are more or less stable. Unless there is a flood or unless there is an earthquake, there is nothing going to change. And it's more or less static market. I mean, where the buyer and seller are commoditized it. So unless a natural event happens, just like how you have some of these oil prices drifting here and there, properties in those pockets like California, they don't quite change. So AVMs per se, in my opinion, are extremely overhyped. They could be making some noise in the short run, but in the longer run, I really don't see them playing a major role in.
Sudhakar, 1 second. I just want to have an announcement. The chief guest is not able to take out his car. There are 2 cars which are obstructing the way. Number 7866 and the other number is 2350. So if anybody has these cars or owns these cars or has parked these cars, can I request the gentleman to sort of remove them so that the chief guest can go? Sorry to stop you, Sudhakar, but this was important. And Sudhakar, if you can keep the mic a little away
Yeah.
from your,
I've realized that.
that will be
I've
more
been
impactful.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank
I've
you.
been informed of that. So I was almost towards the completion of this, where I was saying that AVM is more or less an hype. It may not be in whatever form and manner it is right now. Data is not available, and data models cannot predict or replace the physical undercurrents which are happening at a local micro market level. Those are extremely sensitive, and we need valuation professionals who can capture and understand those underlying localized micro market currents which are happening at a property level.
Is that all?
Yes.
Okay, for now at least. The good fancy part of this conference is that technology has gone to one level above. So I can lift this mic up. There's no wire there. And this is the first out of the many that I have moderated has no wire. So that's very fantastic. So I don't know whether to congratulate PNB or somebody who's organized this, but this is very good. So you can just move the mic anywhere and you can speak it like a collarless mic, but that's technology for you. Abhay sir, before you come in and give your views, I just have to share one thing, that valuation in this country is regularized by what is called insolvency, you know. So if you heard the executive director, he said, you know, they had to formalize this law because there were a lot of urgent situations, a lot of companies had defaulted. And that was one reason why valuations came up. So I just want to remind, and before Abhayji starts to sort of say reliance of valuers on insolvency, that valuation as a profession, as far as I can understand, has been historic. People have been buying, selling, and therefore, for that reason, they're valued in their minds, you know, any commodity or any transaction. But formal valuation started with, as far as I am sure, with insurance business. So you had a lot of sea trade, and a lot of sea trade was happening, and there were, you know, a lot of risks in that sea trade because the ships would not reach the destination. There were a lot of, you know, dacoits, or there was a lot of storm issues, and therefore the goods had to be insured. And when goods had to be insured, somebody had to put a pricing on the risk that somebody is undertaking. So if you heard this financial world, there are many financial, there's a term called underwriting. So ship के बाहर एक board रख दिया, बोले, you know, 1 ton of goods for $1 to United States from UK. तो उसके बाद आया, उसने अपना रिस्क कैलकुलेट करा, उसने कहा नहीं, I value this differently, my pricing is 90 cents. और करते करते पता 68 cents पे वो शिप छूट गया. So this valuation practice actually is very scientific. It not only accounts for the asset value, but also the risk it carries. And you know, the belief that, you know, engineers are the only ones who can do it, or finance guys can only do it, I think is all, you know, not true. It is a mixture of truth. So, but we are increasingly reliant on valuation given by some valuer to settle the insolvency issues. And insolvency itself is very dynamic. रोज नए नए खुलासे होते हैं, you know, आज ये हो गया, आज वो हो गया, आज इतनी FSI आ गई, उतना नहीं दिया. But you know, reliance of value is still there. So अभय, आप कुछ ज्ञान दें कि how do you see this valuation profession contributing, and you know, reliance on values is important for insolvency.
Good evening, and thank you, Sunil. In fact, I becoming a valuer, the genesis is that I became first the insolvency professional. And if you no, it was which, yeah. Anyway, so I was away from this. Okay. So in fact, if I look at my own career, I have a 39 years of experience, and I may be a few of the youngest valuer you can call, hardly 4 or 5 years. So nowhere I am near Mr. Pichaiya sir in valuation. So in fact, and I have done in my career many changes. I started from Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company, you must have heard, which is now Tata Motors. So as a mechanical engineer. And then after 3-4 years, I switched over to telecom industry. Department of Telecom. So no relationship. And from there again, I went spent around say 13 years of my time. So Oracle was my last destination in software industry. So starting my career from the insolvency. So I first understood when I left my job, Mr. Neeraj Kapoor is here. He is my in this profession. So he asked me to, to become an insolvency professional. I was not even knowing what is the insolvency profession. So I Googled it. And then I started reading and then passed that exam. I mean, it's a miracle for an engineer to pass the exam in one attempt. I just got 63 marks. So that was good enough for me to become an insolvency professional. So, and then it was being discussed, this valuation profession, regulation of the valuation profession was being discussed those days. And so during that time only I started visiting IOV and started participating in that process of that training and even help in preparing that course material. And also what Mr. Vinay Goel just mentioned, today is the day when we completed. So I was in that batch, first batch of IOV RVF. And I may be the first person to pass the plant and machinery exam also. So that was my...
So you became a student after all.
Yeah. So during that class, I was a teacher as well as a student. So it was
Very good.
evolving process, no? We created everything from scratch.
Correct.
We created. So insolvency and so it was very. I mean, as you said, as Mr. Pichaiya said, that a standard is very important. So if you look at the insolvency regulation itself, where it asks for a two valuation report, the moment you ask for a two valuation report, then that two valuation report has to be measured against an standard. So from there itself, the need for the standard, how it is very important that you need to have a standard for the valuation. And since I have worked in telecom, so in telecom, all 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, can you imagine, can it become a reality without a standard? So a standard anywhere, even if it is a professional work, we have to work against a particular benchmark. Then only we can come to a common value. So that is what insolvency talks about. And one more thing very important in insolvency and bankruptcy code is that the design itself, where they have asset in one side and liability at other side. So normally in business valuation, you take care of both asset and liabilities, and then you finally come out, this is the value of the enterprise. Whereas in case of IBC, it's the asset, forget about the liability. Liabilities are taken care through the when you give your claim. So liabilities are taken care through claim. And then assets, and there the three assets came into existence: land and building, plant and machinery, and security and financial assets. So if you look at security and financial asset, it is again asset based. They are not talking in terms of business valuation. The concept of what we talk of discounted cash flow or any that kind of valuation, say standard or method. So we don't follow most of the cases in insolvency. We don't follow that kind of methodology. So it's a plain vanilla methodology which we follow in insolvency, and through which we conclude a value, and that is to some extent has given, I mean, good benchmark for the committee of creditor to take a decision of any asset, whether it should be that asset should get resolution or it should go to the liquidation.
Okay, so I think standards, and that is what we've heard, Mr. Pichaiya and even Abhayji, to sort of who advised you. Neeraj Kapoor was a bad advisor, because first he did not, recommend you to become a valuer by benefiting his own organization. But I know why, विनय जी ने आपको कहा कि बोले वहाँ फीस ज़्यादा मिलती होगी वैल्यूअर से, तो इसलिए जो है आपने एडवाइस का फिर घसीट लिया. Anyway, Mr. Pichaiya, you've mentioned the history of valuations, why valuations have been But what is the way forward? How do we look at valuations going forward?
So in hindsight, I was discussing about the failure of two important statutes. Now, as rightly required by the moderator, it's important that what is the way forward. See, that's a big challenge for IOV and IOV-RVF. There is a general, what do you call, perception about many things in valuation. Suddenly things are happening. Suddenly statutes are requiring registered valuers to do the valuations. And I think I worked out it must be around 60 to 70 sections under the various acts, including Companies Act and SEBI and income tax and so on. About 60 to 70 sections. So originally we were supposed to do the valuation under section 34AB, which was the most popular section under which wealth tax was required. Now there are a plethora of sections and different bases of value, and the avenues have opened up. So now this is a situation where you have opportunities, and we need to learn fast, transform very fast. And the only way to come out of this is learn the standards and go ahead with standard compliant valuations. And that is the only way which I am able to pursue. In this context, I would like to again make an important point that why valuation has suddenly become important and why all these acts require, so many sections required valuations to be done by the registered valuers, and why the valuation standards. See, in the market economy, see, the terminology which is called the financial information has become very critical for the stability of the entire financial system, whether it's the whole economy of the country or the government stability of the financial stability of the government or of a corporate. So this financial information becomes very, very central and critical factor. And valuation is one of the most important and central factors in the financial information. So everybody needs an appropriate and accurate valuation. Of course, we never used to call it as an accurate valuation. We always call it an estimate. So now they want you to give a determination of the value, improvising from what you call estimation of the value. So this financial information, which is very important, that is what is the valuation. Now we have different kinds of bases required under different sections and different approaches to be adopted in different situations. So this is where the standards come in. And fortunately, we have the IVS, which is a principle-based standard. So it is very difficult for a beginner to go with a rule-based standard. At least now we have, for the time being, the government has permitted us to use the IVS as a de facto standard, and wherever departures are required, statutes require, the valuation has to be done in a manner in which it is stipulated in the said statute. Departures has to be adopted. So now that the government has taken a middle path, but the experience in working with these stakeholders, and yesterday we had a meeting with, day before yesterday we had a meeting of the standards board. We are also moving towards putting in place a system so that we move forward. So there are two kinds of situations now. Now we have to do the valuations which are coming in our way, and we have to necessarily do it with 100% standards compliance, or wherever departures are there, go ahead with the statutory requirements. Now the training of the valuers, I'm proud to say that in the past 2 years we have done around 12 programs and about 1,200 delegates, valuers have been trained. We are running against time, and now it is up to the registered valuers to come forward and be part of the efforts of IOV-RVF. That I will come a little later, 1 minute later. So this is the challenge now. We need to do an extensive capacity building. We need to sensitize the valuers to understand what is expected out of them. And we have suddenly about 60 or 70 sections under which valuations are required, different bases, different methods, different approaches. So this is a big challenge which all of us need to address. So now there are large number of programs, CEPs conducted by IOV-RVF. I think we are the largest. We have conducted the largest number of CEPs in the any RVO for that matter in India. Anyway, that's the other side of the things. So in fact, IOV and IOV-RVF have geared up, and we already have this valuation standards board. Then I thought there are so many challenges now happening, and some people finding it difficult to, now stakeholders are also finding it difficult to, understand the principle-based standards, and even valuers are struggling. So this is a big challenge. So we need to have more intensive programs and sensitize so that we can bring in some case studies or make the valuers themselves to come out with a problem and then how to solve it. So these are some of the programs which are being contemplated by Valuation Standards Board. Now the biggest problem for us, now we have everything coming together. That's a big challenge for the Standards Board. So there is a section of stakeholders, including valuers, who feel that now whether we have IVS, we'll go ahead with IVS. Let us not think about anything else. And there is a section of valuers and stakeholders who feel that, including the government, there is a perception, strong perception towards having our own national valuation standards. So I think today also, when the ED was introduced to me, he didn't talk about anything else. He said, yes, we have to do a lot of things about valuation standards. We have to make our own standards. So sitting here, he didn't have anything else to say. He said immediately, I was introduced as chairman for Standards Board, immediately said, we have a lot of work to do. We have to do standards immediately. As if we can write a book or something like that. It's not so easy. So we are already working towards, how to carry forward the, efforts of the IOV RVF. Now we have made an Valuation Standards Advisory Board, under which individually all asset classes have a separate board, like what we have in IVSC. There is a separate board for land and building, for which Mr. Venkatramani is the head, and Mr. Abhay is the head for the plant and machinery, and Mr. Rajiv Singh is for the SNFA. So now they've already started working, and subgroups have been formed. And now the VSAB has now devised 3 verticals. The first one is harmonizing the valuation process under the various statutes. So we have different statutes under which valuations are required. How to move about? So we have to harmonize that and prepare some guidelines and handouts for valuers to assist. The second vertical will be on adapting and adopting IVS, which we'll be coming out with some guidelines on that. And the last one is our Indian National Valuation Standards. So we have very seriously, we have a very great responsibility, and it requires enormous amount of efforts. In this context, I require experienced valuers to be part of the efforts taken by Valuation Standards Advisory Board. We are going to launch an exclusive Valuation Standards Advisory Board portal very shortly, which is being worked out. So in which 24/7 people can enter in there. So we are going to have a lot of, I don't want to go into that. I don't have time. So it is in the interest of the profession and IOV RVF, the time has come for all valuers with experience to come forward and take part in the initiatives of the Standards Advisory Board. And we are planning to introduce some kind of proactive and interactive systems in that, so that you can contribute for the standards activities also. So we have to necessarily move towards a standards regime. We can't escape, not only for statutory, but also for non-statutory. Mostly we'll be going into a system where we'll be doing only, in some form or the other, a standard compliant valuations. I think we all expect you to be part of our efforts, hoping that all of you will be with us in this effort of moving towards a very great responsibility. I request once again to be part of our efforts. Thank you, Sunil.
I think very well said. There is a well that is being dug up. Everybody is thirsty. The well is being dug up. We don't know when. By when do you think, sir, this well will give us water? This whole standard, because it's been 5 years that the well is being dug, but no water from now. Abhi tanker se hi kaam chal raha hai, IVS the tanker.
I think 1 year we some kind of
Okay.
some kind of improvement. That's the minimum I can guarantee.
Okay, that's very good. I mean, no, I'm not asking. I'm just saying he's expected. See, we don't, in valuation, we never commit anything. You said, this is what our opinion is.
So in his opinion, it is 1 year. What is in your opinion, Abhay sir? You can also share your opinion. You are also the chairman of a board. So okay, fair enough. So एक ये yeah.
That is the challenge now for the board. I think we are with conflicting interests. I'm not, Priya doesn't have anything against, and he also doesn't have anything against. But these are some of the perceptions. So we are working against time and as well as against different perceptions. This is the situation we are in. This is universal towards the valuation ecosystem. I think all of you experience that. In some cases, we not know what to do. We get into that, learn it, and do it. Like and that is going to be the future for some more time.
So let's hope that these standards, when the reports come out, they don't become like chartered accountant balance sheets. You know, they reveal only what they want to and they hide many more facts. So reading balance sheets is still a biggest issue. You know, you read one company's balance sheet, the other company's balance sheet, सब अलग-अलग दिखते हैं, सब छुपाते हैं, क्या नहीं छुपाते हैं. You know, it's something which is a maze. So let's hope we have standards this time that, you know, I'll even go to say, it's okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you know, chartered accountants may have their own opinion, but the perception I'm telling you of valuers, the perception is that even valuers report write goalmole things, even the doctors report write goalmole things, engineers also, सबके professionals are very good at it. So let's not just pull chartered accountants, let's pull everybody into it. But let's leave these standards should at least, you know, one, you know, I don't know how fair it is, but even the report should be a standard report. It is the executive summary. You can write 20,000 pages, whatever you want to, but the executive summary, like the bank formats, we have to have a single format to at least say what is there in that particular report, 20, 30, 40, 60, 70 points, but let's have a standard list of executive summary at least. And that is something that anyway we'll put on the portal. Let's see how it comes out. But thanks very much for this panel. You know, we have very limited time left. We will have the next round of panel, and I'll keep inviting, the panelists for the next one. So thank you very much. Thank you, Pichaiya sir. Thank you, Sudhakar. Thank you, Abhay sir. Felicitate करना है? अच्छा, I thought हमको कोई felicitate करता नहीं है. So anyway, I think let the panelists be on the stage. And felicitation, who's going to do felicitation? I keep inviting, or Madhu, you will come and ask. Vinay sir will come. Okay, we can do that as well. So that's a good suggestion. We'll have the second session and then we'll do felicitation at the end. So for the next round of panel, first of all, I want to invite valuer Mr. Vaibhav Nagarkar. Mr. Nagarkar, please come on the dais. Mr. Nagarkar is a customs impaneled chartered engineer, having 27 years of experience in the domain of international business and engineering. Being a techno-commercial export advisor, he is running an advisory and consulting firm at Pune, offering end-to-end international business solutions, including setting up of EOU and SEZ units, DGFT customs, DC regulatory compliance, etc. He is a CBDT approved valuer impaneled on 4 leading banks and an insurance surveyor and loss adjuster. He is a writer of 4 best-selling books on export-import subjects and visiting professor at 5 leading MBA schools and Chamber of Commerce in Pune for the last 14 years. Please give a big round of applause to valuer Vaibhav Nagarkar. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming down and gracing this function. Impanelment for land and building in the IMPEX export-import. For land and building, I am one. Dr. Pichaiya was one. So 2 of us. Yeah. Those are impaneled for land and building. ऐसा नहीं है आपकी वॉइस छुप रही है, मतलब land and buildings वाले तो यहाँ maximum majority में है. The next person that I want to invite on the dais is Mr. Rajiv Singh. He's basically a fellow member of ICAI, and he's also on the board of Mechanoplastics, a listed auto component company. He's a certified information system integrator auditor of the United States of America, a valuer qualified from ICAI, and registered valuer with IBBI. He is the founding member of the RVO recognized by IBBI and his cherished role as the first joint technical director and visiting professor of valuation and master's business finance courses of the ICI. He contributed significantly to developing of the first business valuation standards in India issued by the ICI in 2010 and designating and delivering first valuation course of ICI and the ICSI. Welcome, Dr. Singh. I met you before in Guwahati, so you've been a friend of IOV. You keep coming to our occasion, firm. So thank you very much for doing that. And the last two panelists, in fact, both of them value new age companies. First, Mr. Sanket Singhal. Mr. Sanket Singhal is an IOB member and is a member of the Institute of Actuaries India and Institute and Faculty of Actuaries UK. Mr. Sanket has more than 25 years of experience in the field of valuation, determining the enterprise value, financial assets, liabilities, investments, insurance, and other risk management services. Welcome, Dr. Saket Singh, Mr. Saket Singhal. You have come from Bombay, so that shows the commitment that he has. And last but not the least is Mr. Sachin Garg. Mr. Sachin Garg is a land and buildings and plant and machinery valuer. He is a Wealth Act registered valuer under Section 34AB and also a fellow member of the Institution of Valuers. He is a member of the Institution of Government Approved Valuers as well. Sachin, thank you for coming down. And let me tell you, today is quite a historic day where Mr. Sachin is there personally for a board meeting of the IOV Council. Otherwise, normally he takes time off and is normally joining by the so-called online mode. But today he is graced at least his physical presence. So thank you so much, Sachin. Okay. You can.
I was just thinking, it's good to use technology in this era. So when, you have an opportunity to have a VC, so it saves, a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, let me tell you, whether the world goes into this B2B business or, technology-driven business, but I only know one business that will always be is a P2P business, person-to-person business. And that is something that no computer technology is ever going to fail. Still, I am very surprised that with all the LinkedIn and with all the platforms, networking platforms available, I can say for surety that the work that I think a lot of valuers get in this room, 90%, if that figure is wrong, you can correct me, but 90% of the work is through a friend who's recommended your name to someone, and that I think will still continue. It's all about knowing who in your phone has what kind of abilities. So I've been a consultant all my life, and WS Atkins is a big, firm. We're doing with this Ambi Valley project with them, and the head of their global firm was there. And somebody asked him a question. He says, "Look, I don't know, but I know the one who knows." So this is how the world works. I hope it keeps working that way, and we don't come to a point where you have this, chat bot and say, "Hey, chatbot, tell me that guy that I can work with because he's going to recommend your next partner in some business or whatever." So on that note, I think just coming to the two professionals first, valuation of new age businesses. So, your views on how to value, because a lot of, controversial, statements have been made while working onto the valuation of new age businesses. Paytm is all in front of us, and then there are other, examples, but Paytm has become like the poster boy of what happened. So how to actually go about rationally valuing now? So much time, what has flown. So, first to you, Single sir, and then Sachin.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Agrawal. On the new age, I think that during every ages we have new age companies, we have new age entities. So like Infosys was new age entity when it started or it was prospering. Airtel was new age company when it started offering mobile services. So during every ages we have new age companies. Like if I put new age companies in the bracket, I think I will put it in say some brackets wherein I will say that a new age company can be a company which is offering some say new product in an already established product category. So like EV cars. So like Tesla can be a new age company, or a company which has redefined process to manufacture some product. Like maybe I have heard that Adani Port is a new age company in the port era. I can define new age company as a company which is in an industry which was not earlier there, maybe for the private sector, or it was not there. So like maybe satellite launching private sector companies in India, like maybe Dhruv. I can define a new age company which has streamlined or eased out processes which is helping some other industry, like maybe Zomato or Paytm type of company. So there can be plethora of new age plethora of say definitions of the new age companies. So I think startup is a section of a new age company wherein they are at the startup age. There can be some new age companies which have already matured or which have already grown and which have established financial channels, like maybe say Tesla now, right? So new age companies can be in the different stages of the development. Startup is one phase wherein they will be say looking at the P funding firstly, or they don't have any avenue of the funding right now, but they are looking for the funding, or they are in the Series A, Series B, Series C type of funding. So uh, to me, new age means a company which is offering, which is working on the latest available technology, which is working on the latest available digitally available technology type of thing, and it is easing out, or it is coming out with something different which is still not there. Now coming to the valuation of the new age companies. So as I mentioned, there can be two type of new age companies which have already listed on the stock exchanges, right? And the companies which are still based, which are still at the new age companies which are looking at the funding. Now over there, I don't see there is much role of the valuer. Virtually now every valuer, RV, other things, we are preparing report as per the statutes, but I don't see there is much role of the valuers over there, because in those companies I feel that it's the valuation which changes price and not price which changes valuation. So basically, price has already been decided between seller and the buyer, and they approach valuer to do a reporting, and valuer does that reporting based on the projections which stakeholders had given to him. So in that scenario, what is happening that, okay, if you look at the traditional valuation approaches, I don't think there is any cost approach which can be applied. I don't think there is any market approach which can be applied. It is just the income approach. And in the income approach, those are the projections and the risk adjusted discounted which are important. We all know how projections are made. We all know how RDRs are made. So in those valuations wherein already a price has been decided between buyer and the seller, valuer's role is just to come out with the price which has already been decided. Right?
Very, very well put. I think this is the first time somebody of his stature is saying this, because otherwise, it's wrong to call those valuation reports. Will you agree? It is good to say these are consulting reports, which basically on a rational basis validate what
what has already been
assumptions
decided.
would be decided.
Like if you look philosophically on that, if you look all the PE funders, like last year India got around $25 billion of the funding. All this funding is coming from abroad, right? So based on the higher valuation, if we are getting higher money, it's like money jo hamara gaya tha wapis aa raha. So from that perspective, I think those kind of things are okay. Now, if we come to the second things, wherein companies are say already listed. Now, over there also valuation looks at the prospect of those companies in the future generally. So like if you digress, say Adani Group companies. So Adani Group companies, Adani Green, Adani Port, those were having P ratio which was more than 100, and the other old economic companies like ACC, Gujarat Ambuja, those were having P like in the 20s and 30s, right? So those companies also get a valuation which is based on maybe based on unrealistic projections. If I give you one example, in 2001, Infosys, Wipro, those were trading at the P ratio of 100. And the P ratio of 100 means that it is expected that they will keep on growing by 100% every year, right? Now, if you would have done an Excel study by putting Infosys revenue, and you would have grown that revenue by 100%, and if you would have done the same exercise with US GDP at that time and growing by around 3 or 4%, after 15 years, Infosys revenue would have been higher than the US GDP, which was totally unrealistic. But Infosys was trading at the P ratio of 100% based on somebody's understanding. So what happened that during their annual general meeting in 2001, Infosys came out with their guidance that next year they will grow by 35%, and the stock was frozen on the lower circuit for next 5 days. Right?
So आप कह रहे हो दिल का मामला है, you know,
So basically
जिसको
जो
प्यार
आपने-
हो गया, उसने जो valuation decide कर ली, that is the valuation, and that price is a fact in the market, and one has to basically stop calling these valuation reports. At best the projections made by someone on a certain
So
basis.
जो आपने starting में कहा था human emotion, valuation between a buyer and the seller during funding stage चाहे पर चर्चा में human emotion से तय होती है, and उसके बाद value picture में आता है.
Okay, so I think now I have been convinced. Sir, I think there are a lot of things that compliance doesn't take into consideration. Let me just go on for 1 second. See, real estate companies have been an old age company. Old age companies हैं बहुत सालों से. When DLF came into the market, the valuation was 535 rupees a share. Aaj, with all the highest profit ever, that was declared by DLF, the valuation is less than 500 rupees on the stock exchange. So is real estate company the right kind of company to actually go to stock exchange? My answer is no. A real estate company, stock market will never be able to give the valuation of a real estate company, because that is not how real estate works. Similarly, my personal belief, startups and new age companies, you can call, wo ek tick mark in the box, say valuation report hai, ye hai, wo hai. I think compliance should also change very quickly to say that this is probably not true. And which is why I appreciate, Singhal Saab here. That is how the regulation must, but regulation में लगा है tick तो हमने भी tick कर दिया. That's what my interpretation is. So, but then compliance, हमें ये भी question कर लीजिए, why that compliance? I mean, that's not relevant. मतलब वैल्यूएशन की गर्दन टांगनी है, मतलब जो है आपने गलत लिख दिया, आपने, that I don't think so is correct. But anyway, that चर्चा can go on. I think.
Sir, I give you one example. In 2011, UK's largest IT company, it was bought by HP at 11 billion pound, and HP wrote off 9 billion pound of that intangibles the next year. And then they sued the promoter of the UK-based IT company that they had given them the wrong information. Right? अब कोई ना कोई वैल्यू पिक्चर में आया होगा उस टाइम भी, सब कुछ हुआ होगा. तो वैल्यूएशंस ऐसे ही मूव कर रही हैं जनरली, जहाँ पर इंटेंजिबल्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, वहाँ पर everything depends upon how you are projecting your business, and that projections depends upon the whims and fancies of the stakeholders.
So I think that compliance has to catch up with the real situation in life. I mean, it's just that, okay, Sachin, I was given to understand that for funding, you require 3 people. They're extremely crucial for you raising a fund. And the 3 Fs: family, friends, and fools. So do you agree that what Singhal sir is saying, that, that ultimately is the buyer's and, decision, and therefore, call them fools, call them by some other names, gamblers, punters, whosoever. A lot of big names are also in that business. But is there really a rational method to valuing these new companies?
Honestly, Sunil, what has happened that, 2 years, 4 years back, when the companies were getting valued, you name Zomato, Paytm, Nykaa, all the companies, they were being valued at billions and billions. Byju's also was billions and billions of dollars. So what is happening that these companies were valued on a closed door, So there were 2 people sitting across. There was Series A, Series B, Series D. Series A, Series B funding that was happening. So probably who has entered in Series A level, he wanted to show his investors some profits. So, उसको किसी को टोपी पहनानी थी. So he went for Series B. So he went on some Excel sheets, made some projections, and Series E big guy got convinced. Okay, I'll buy certain stakes at this level. And this continued. So Series B to Series C, Series D. So these kind of valuations were happening. So these were just the fools.
So basically, finding the greater fool, finding the greater
Greater
fool.
fool. Yeah, absolutely. Practically, what happened? Moment you listed yourself on stock exchange, what happened to Zomato? From 162, it went to 40 rupees. You know, today, just day before yesterday, it was in Economic Times. All the IT companies, I mean, all the technology companies, new age companies, valuation have been halved. Byju's from 22, it has gone to 8 billion. You know, so where are the valuations eroding, and why? Then comes the question whether 22 billion was actually a valuation or not. You know, so when you do not have any standards for the valuations of the new age companies, so it is anyone's whims and fancies that is going in the market.
Okay,
So
so
it
I
is
think
how sooner you are able to find a fool, who
the ultimate fool is the public, any which way. We've been saying this in private equity that ultimate fool is public.
Shall I give one example on on
I think
Zomato?
so
On
थोड़ा सा
Zomato?
एक short कर दीजिएगा 30
हाँ,
seconds
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
the other two valuers.
So Zomato का CEO ने दिसंबर के रिजल्ट के बाद बोला कि they are expecting $1 billion of the profit at the valuation of $100 billion in 2030. Now, if you do some calculation, $1 billion का profit कैसे आएगा? वो जो भी रेस्टोरेंट से लेते हैं उसमें अगर उन्होंने 1% मार्जिन भी कमाया तो $1 billion के लिए they would require $100 billion of the food supply, and this is only Zomato, then Swiggy, then others. तो हमारी क्या फूड इंडस्ट्री इतनी बड़ी होगी कि वो इतना केवल सप्लाई हो रहा होगा घरों में, right? And then at the profit of $1 billion, $100 billion valuation, again PE of 100.
So actually being in the PE industry for a while, कोई सत्य सुनना नहीं चाहता है. I have come to this inevitable conclusion that we don't want to hear the truth. And when we went out on the streets in 2005 raising money, we said, we will give you a 25 to 30% return, which is impossible because, for a long period of time, Warren Buffett is given 16, 18%, but कोई दे नहीं सकता. लेकिन लोगों को सुनना अच्छा लगता था. So I said to someone, I said, you know what, even my company, if you ask me, we will be able to give you 14% returns, 15% return, उससे ऊपर नहीं दे सकते. But you guys, still insist on 25, 30. So he said, we also know you can't give it, but at least if you'll say 25, you'll perform at 14. So, this whole, I don't know, what is the definition of madness, but a movie hai, which is called Wall Street 2, the sequel of Wall Street 2, I'm forgetting the name, Money Never Sleeps. उसमें वो कहता है कि, what is madness? Madness is doing the same thing and over again and expecting a different result. So I think this is what new age companies are coming. Singh sir, आपके पास सबसे last पे आऊँगा because आप real company और new age दोनों में करते हैं. But we have a friend on Impex valuations. Impex valuations have been a mystery to me in the sense that, there is a large import-export world. Bureau Veritas, we are all aware of. They do a lot of things in terms of just specifying. I'm sure there's a lot of treasure in that for the valuers. But I personally, and for the benefit of everyone, like to hear what exactly is Impex valuations and what do you do? What are the avenues that are there for, valuers? Yeah, you can.
Good evening, friends. Impex is basically import and export. Short form is Impex. I'll start with the two practical scenarios. Becomes easy for everyone to understand the role of Impex valuer, the potential involved in this Impex valuation, and more importantly, you being a plant and machinery or being a land and building valuer, anyone can do this Impex valuation. So as I mentioned, Impex is import and export. Let's look at a simple scenario, industrial scenario, day-to-day scenario, practical scenario. There are two companies, A and B. A is an international company, let's say based in United States. B is a company based in India. Both have relation with each other. A is a parent company, B is a subsidiary company. A intend to export or B wants to import in India. B being an Indian company, they want to import. They have placed the order, the material has arrived at Indian port. The customs stops the consignment saying that, oh, dear B, you have declared, you have filed bill of entry, a document with us. And on that document, you have mentioned there is a relation of yours with company A in United States. Is it true? B says, of course, they are the parent company. And the consignment stops. Why? Because there are series of questions the customs is going to ask, minimum 28 questions as far as custom circular public notice is concerned. There are a lot of documents customs is going to demand because there is a relation. Custom feels there is undervaluation or maybe overvaluation. They need a fair value. Customs has their own rules. 13 rules are there. Valuation rules, custom valuation rules 2007. They want importer to explain under which rule he has imported, and the poor fellow is not aware which rule again under which he has imported the goods, and the consignment stucks. The value of the goods is $1 million value, and rate of duty could be in the tune of 30% of import value. The import duty is substantial, and then the word starts detention and damages starts. And my dear friends, this detention damages works on logarithmic scale. Means if yesterday this penalty or fine, if it was 1 lakh, today it is not 2 lakh, it will be 13 lakhs. And tomorrow it will not be 26 lakhs, but it will be 35 lakhs. Logarithmic scale. So the pressure goes up. And this industry B is looking for someone who can rescue, who can help them, who understand custom valuations, who knows custom processes, who understand import-export terms, and more importantly, who understand valuation. Case 1 ends. Look at scenario 2. Scenario 2 is a general purpose company, maybe a trading firm, or maybe a manufacturer in India. He don't have any relation overseas. He has imported some capital goods, let's say pump, compressor, diesel engine, etc. Done successful installation at India. And a couple of years later, he found some kind of problem with the machine. He communicated immediately to the overseas supplier, let's say German supplier, and German supplier says, dear, you please send the pump motor back to our country for repairs. He goes to the customs and customs says, no problem, you carry out export. The export takes place, the goods goes to Germany. The fellow over there, he carries out repairs partly and replace some parts with the new parts, new spares, new machine. And after repairs, after overall, the goods came back to India and the Indian customs again stops. Says, hey, you have to pay the import duty on this. And on the merit means full amount of duty. This Indian exporter, he says, sir, this is the goods which I have already purchased some 2 years back. Now, how come you ask me the full amount of duty? It is the one we have sent it overseas for repairs. And customer is not going to ask, they are not going to understand. They need you to comply with rules, regulations, and more importantly, on valuation aspect, they want you to prove that what will be the right value of the consignment so that I can charge the duty on you. Consignment stops. Here also, this Indian company wants someone who understands the customs rules regulation. They want someone to understand the RBI guidelines, IDPMS and EDPMS kind of processes. This company wants someone who understands the international insurance perspective or marine insurance angle of this. This fellow also wants, or I want to understand what is the country's foreign trade policy. Of course, the valuation aspects is also another thing which he is looking for. And sir, believe me, out of 10, 9 industries face this kind of situation. Who is going to come forward and help these industries? The answer is simple, you and me. And that is how this topic, the Impex Valuer processes as a consulting process. So I always say, what the work we are doing today is just a software, like a software company where there is a terminology called software as a service, SaaS. I always say valuation as a service, VAAS, VAS. And a forward integration of that, many steps further, I can put it as the Impex process or Impex valuer could be the consulting valuer. This is a kind of profession much step ahead of valuation process, because for Impex valuer or consulting valuer, not only you need knowledge of valuation, but you also need to know the terms of the trade. And you are the only one who can understand this because you have knowledge of IVS. You know the methods and approaches which has been prescribed and you're practicing for so many years. What you are not aware is only the rules, regulations under Foreign Trade Development and Regulation Act. What you don't know, the IDPMS and EDPMS processes of Reserve Bank of India. What you don't know is Customs Act, and not necessarily or 346 sections. You don't have to master of that, but you need to know a couple of things so that you can help the industry and become empaneled. Instead of going to the bank only, become empaneled with the industry, and that will fetch you not only the good amount of business, but a more amount of satisfaction, because you are going to help the industry in the capacity of advisor. And the potential is so big. I mentioned 9 out of 10, because if you see the statistics, per month India is doing import to the tune of 60 billion US dollars, and exports to the tune of 40 billion dollars. Taken together, friends, 100 billion US dollars per month. Huge potential. Look at the FDIs. Foreign direct investments are coming to India. Every month it is increasing in percent of GDP. You look at the figure is 2.5%. Substantial. We are the 7th largest country who is attracting FDIs out of 193 countries. So the potential is big. So where is the gap? Gap is there is no availability or very less availability of consulting valuer. Valuers are many, consulting valuers. Industry needs dialogue. Industry wants to speak their problem with someone. They don't know to whom they should call. They call chartered accountants. But foreign trade policy is an optional subject in CA syllabus. Someone will appreciate whoever or CA is over here. I'm a cost accountant also, along with chartered engineer. Whole costing syllabus, export costing was absent, even today. So, if not we, if not valuer today, someone else will check up these kind of, assignments. And there is a big scope. That's the reason I emphasize. We should learn the tricks, techniques, and that is not rocket science. We should know the tricks, we should know the rules, regulations of import and export, and there is a big potential. Why we should look only India as a market? Globally, there is a big demand. Every month we are doing 3-4 assignments internationally. Big demand. That's all. Thank you. If you have any
Thank
questions.
you so much. No, only question I have is that how many such valuers you think exist in this country in terms of number, if you have a guess? And we have a lot
It's
of
not
valuers.
a 2-digit figure.
2-digit figure, my God. So max of 99, but that's still too less. I often wondered कि विनय जी को ये Impex valuation इतना पसंद क्यों है? He got onto this कि Impex valuation कराओ इसकी training. I said, this may be just a tool for, IOV to set itself aside. हम थोड़ा different है इसलिए. विनय जी आपके बारे में कह रहा हूँ, आप busy हो बात करने में. मैंने आपसे कहा कि I used to be surprised why Vinay ji was so excited about Impex valuations. हमें लगता था कि ठीक है और 4 कोर्स हैं, चलो नया कोर्स है ये भी करा लो, ऐसा कुछ फीलिंग है. लेकिन now I can realize that this is like a gold mine for a lot of valuers. So I'm sure next time the course is announced, then I'll also encourage a lot of people. देखते हैं क्या क्या possibilities हैं. Any which way, I think this is wonderful that at least IOV has that side. Now Rajiv ji, आपने सुन लिया कि जो है यहाँ पे एक्सपोर्ट में बहुत जो है पोटेंशियल है. My friends are saying that probably compliance has to catch up with valuation when it comes to at least startup valuation. But business valuation itself as a profession where a lot of businesses, not only the ones that are so-called new, because every business is going to become a new business because technology is so pervasive. कोई अगर कोई भी चीज़ बना रहा है उसमें technology and IT will play a part. So as a valuer, what scope and how much do you think is the potential for business valuers? Obviously, at Bastion, largely taken up by ICA, ICSI, etc. But sometimes I feel that, tangible asset values also understand 1 plus x to the power n. उसको समझने में कोई tough नहीं है. So how can you throw this whole audience into the new age of, business valuations?
Thank you very much.
It's a nice question. Let me first tell you that I come from a science background. Okay, so I'm a BSc. So yeah, once I tried to appear in IIT, once failed, but I'm happy to I teach in IITs. So on the topic of valuation, that gives a, if I can understand, anybody sitting in the audience can understand. Business valuation scope internationally and nationally is growing, and it will grow because you can see the kind of geopolitics changes which is taking place. So a lot of business theft will happen, and it's already like a Titanic theft is happening. So the impact will be there for people to migrate from tangible to say business valuation is much easier because you've seen some processes, you're accustomed to know something. Just you have to understand what we were discussing about understanding the businesses. A company which is a settled company, a company which is just coming up, you know, the biggest trouble which happens, there are 4-5 areas which I've identified. And I'll just keep on telling you, in a startup companies or a new generation company, the biggest problem is first is a micro issue. So the people only look at the macro number. I started the business, I look at the macro number, I'm the promoter. And I also believe that other people should also look at the macro number. I do not see the micro of this, that whether this is achievable, who are the other people who are catching me. That inflates the whole thing. It balloons the valuation. I have a view that the role of a valuer in this process is to cajole, to kind of nudge the promoter that don't do this because it will destroy the complete ecosystem. The company which you named, you want to watch my video 2020, not today. I, in a public seminar attended by 12,000 people in an institute program, and I clearly mentioned these 3 companies that they are going to get impaired. Now, to understand the business, if you don't understand the business model, you are nowhere. If you want to understand the Paytm, you have to understand that how the UPI has finished it, how the UPI has impaired it. Impairment is the biggest issue. So the problem here, what we are talking about, if you do a valuation and you do not understand the business's part, that makes a lot of problems in terms of your quantification of those numbers. And the weighting is a very important exercise of a valuer. I've just come across, probably you must have seen, you can just pick out the newspaper of maybe 15 days back. One company has acquired a brand of a pharmaceutical brand, and 300 plus crore roughly is the valuation. And do you know that the valuation has come through a DCF model? The valuer who was asked to do this valuation, in fact, already 2 valuation has done it. A bank has already agreed for a loan. The third one they were asking because there was some doubt. The third one called me up. They said, is that the right one? I mean, what you are doing? I simplified the whole process. He said it's a brand. I said in the company, only the brand is there. If I give you a pharmaceutical brand, will you be able to generate the revenue? He said, no. So there are so many tangible and intangible assets together pumping the revenue, right? And from there you derive the value. And you are assigning the entire 300 crore to a brand. So this is a serious, I mean, you're trying to, this is not something what price is decided and go and validate. This is your complete misleading the people, knowing well that what I'm doing is incorrect, right? That's not something which is standard. That's not something which allows you. You can go wrong on projections part, I can understand, and there is a ways to control that. So my, point here is that.
सर एक छोटा सा आपसे क्लैरिफिकेशन लेता हूँ इसी बात पे. See, when bank lends, what they're saying is मैं इस ब्रांड को मॉर्गेज नहीं कर सकता. From मैंने मेरा कुछ जो explanation है, मतलब I'm just because we don't do business valuation, I'm just I heard this तमाशा happening and I did not agree. So since I have a good opportunity, तो कहता है साहब मैं तो बैंक के अंदर 300 करोड़ की उसकी प्लांट मशीनरी है वो. मैंने कहा ब्रांड को तो बाहर से थर्ड पार्टी मैन्युफैक्चर करा सकता है. So there was this whole confusion, and then the bank said, "नहीं मुझे तो DCF से ही चाहिए valuation."
Very nice. So,
So we did not do the valuation. We just said thank you.
I'll tell you that. Yeah, that's how I'm telling the audience that opportunity you can just watch. S&P index, if you look US 500, S&P 500, 90% of the market capitalization today is represented by intangible. So if you today do not understand the intangible, we do not understand the business. Simple. If you have no understanding of intangible, you cannot even value a startup company because most of them are there only, right? So the point what I'm trying to make is, just imagine, to give you an example, in India, it happens with a Kingfisher brand, okay? 4,000 crore was the valuation done. I'll tell you today, Neither that point in time, nor today even. The Kingfisher brand was with KL. Can you believe that? This is simple. It's like saying that I'm not the owner of a building, but you valued it and given it back to the bank to give a loan. So Kingfisher brand is a liquor brand. The airlines brand, they valued it, and there was a big valuer who did it, the valuation of 4,000 crore. SBI and other banks all led it, right? After that, the fraud came in. Rather than looking at that, how they have gone wrong on the valuation, what are the processes, there are so many multiple issues into this valuation. But nobody noticed it because everything was decided, right? And a backfiling done. Verification, if you look at, you will know that the first thing you do call is a due diligence. Due diligence of a title. This is not even a property title. The way you look at a Indian segment, property is not all online, so you can go and check. There is, you are not in South Korea. South Korea mortgage valuation, loan, everything happens in 5 seconds. You just have to give an application. Everything comes in quick and fast. Here, the guy was supposed to do a basic diligence that whether this company which is asking for a loan, right, which is already funded by a loan. So this asset was offered as a mortgage, allowed. Mortgage lending is a practice. And if you have a value like this, what I'm saying, it will be the practice if India has to become a 10 trillion, 20 trillion, whatever trillion economy. Problem is that now again it has started, sir. So this is the classical example I'm saying. They are giving 300 crore. Anything tomorrow goes wrong in monetization of that brand, then probably again there will be a further block. That is the problem.
So I think you have again summed it very well, that problem not only lies with the assignment, it's also about understanding what is around the assignment and then trying to do it. यहाँ पे रमन जी बैठे हुए हैं. कुछ दिन पहले मैंने इनसे भी बड़े भाई हैं, कुछ जो है प्लांट एंड मशीनरी के बारे में पूछा. And since we are very new to plant and machinery, we asked him, he said इसको ex situ value दें, in situ value दें. So for those who don't understand, in situ is machine लगी हुई है और ex situ मतलब इसको उखाड़ के ले जाएंगे. So I think I am the only, मतलब इन्होंने ही एक, मैंने कहा कि हमको जब मशीनरी वैल्यू करते हैं तो एसेट आता है बिल्डिंग के साथ में. एसेट आया ETP, एफ्लुएंट ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट. तो ETP की वैल्यूएशन विद बिल्डिंग है. मैंने कहा इसकी ईंटें थोड़ा उखाड़ के ले जाएगा कोई. So it has to be ex situ by default. I will not name, very senior valuer called in the industry. वो IOV के member नहीं है. So disclaimer is that he is not a IOV member. नहीं, बिना जी फिर कहेंगे कि आपने जो हमारे member को ऐसे बोला. मैंने कहा नहीं, वो IOV member नहीं है. He used to be IOV member, now no more. So probably you'll get a hint. He said,
sorry. The understanding of difference between price and value is still continuing. This is the basic thing.
IBBI doesn't have clarity on it.
No, IBBI, if it's a clarity of IBBI is not necessary. It's necessary for the one who's executing. IBBI may or may not have the clarity. It doesn't make difference to us. Like, look at that, Mr. Goyal, in 60s he thought of. In US, somebody developed something in 59, 60 of a model of a valuation of a company still rolling across the globe. My point is that all price which is reported in the market is not of a equal character. Just take a listed company which moves from EQ series to B series. How many people know that? You compare the P, this and that. Now EQ series is a regular series. The B series where there is no regular trading happening, your day-to-day trading is a stop. And that gives you a small amount of volume. So suppose if I have to value today, my subject interest is this big, and the trading happening this is small, I cannot apply P and Q.
Correct.
This is what is allowed in fair value standard for accounting purposes. But for all other purposes, it is not allowed. So if a valuer will not know, how the people will know? Same blockage discount, it is allowed, not allowed for the purpose of accounting purpose, but the same blockage discount is allowed for transactional purpose. Even it applies in real estate business. Because you come from real estate, Noida, there is a 42 months of inventory still lying. You go and find out the price of one flat, multiply all. Is that the right way to do value? It is the ballooning the value. You are not applying the blockage discount. You have not made analysis of demand supply sector. So it is the problem with the valuer because they find something and it is a heuristic in finance. It is a complete wrong process adopted, not understanding the definition of what you are trying to achieve. And intangible is in a complete chaos, which is what is the future for this country.
So on that note, I think we will end this panel discussion. So I would like to call the 3 previous panelists on the dais to facilitate them. And it's been a fantastic panel. So we can all give them a huge round of applause. Very, very good
very nice. एक ही चीज विनय जी से कहना चाहता हूँ, मेरी बेटी आज आई हुई थी, तो she said this is a old people profession. तो यहाँ सारे old ही दिख रहे हैं. So the youngest I had was Sachin probably, you know, or maybe Ujjwal was here. So, you know, we must get with such a lot of opportunity inside. I think it must be done something for the youngsters to imbibe this profession. Otherwise, you know, this will just be a profession, will have huge potential, but nobody really taking on. So I fear कि, you know, ये फिर विदेशी कंपनी आएंगी और वो उस कैप को पुल करेंगी, तो which is not what we really want. So, you know, that's one request, and thank you.
This will happen only if you allow a part-time practice, right?
Correct.
Especially in plant or machinery, you will not get it because people have to first retire at the age of 60. Same is for your real estate. And same is for if I'm a chartered accountant, if you want to have a separate valuation course, how much the business is there, I'll survive based on that.
Right.
I will not survive. That's a fact. So I need to do something. And
Yeah.
you say you can't do that. So I'll do something else, which you don't know it. That's the problem. So profession has to understand the reality, and regulator also has to understand the reality. I think they have created a body called Financial Regulator Overview Body. They are working. Let's see, some nice advice goes to them at IOV platform or any other platform. They understand the complication. You want to bring a young guy. Otherwise, they will be there in the company. They are not going to come for evaluation, I can assure you. Because who are the user, they are going to give you 5,000-10,000 rupees. That's not what you do evaluation. It's a pretty complicated job.
Right.
And remember, based on that, board decisions are made at the end of the day. It is
No, I don't think so. They're made on that.
They
My
are.
current advice
They
is
are.
that
In
they,
today's
okay,
world,
today,
all good governance
good governance
companies,
company. Yes.
they are. In fact, I'm not looking for where there is no governance. Yes.
Thank you so much.
May I take this time to felicitate our moderator and the panelists. I would request Mr. Vinay Goyalji to come and facilitate Mr. Sunil Agarwal.
It's always a pleasure to felicitate Mr. Sunil Agarwal. He moderates in a very different manner. I think all the panelists will agree with me. And today, I think it is a perception. What I'm getting is where we want to go, we want to search. Like your daughter has said, I will only correct you. Don't use the word old. You use the word senior. I would like to. So, but it's really a delight to hear all of you, and I think everybody. Let's give them a standing ovation, please, please. So this is the vision of IOV, surging ahead for the new avenues and becoming younger. Thank you.
And thank you, Sunilji, for such a lively session. You not just kept us informed, you also entertained us well. And regarding the age of values, we have a very young friend, Mohit is here, who is young and is a bachelor also. So you, so talking about the age of the value, it's coming down below 30 also. Am I right, Mohit? Oh, within the bandwidth, no issues. I request Madhuji to felicitate Mr. Abhay. Now request Minister to felicitate Mr. Sudhakar. Neerajji, please come over and felicitate Mr. Pichaiya, sir. I would request Ramanna sir to come onto the stage to felicitate Mr. Rajiv Singh. Mr. Nitin Lele, you are requested to felicitate Mr. Vaibhav Nagarkar. Galat. Fixing. Okay. Chalo. So, okay, I request Vishwajit Jadon ji to come on to the stage to felicitate Mr. Saket Singhal. I got this list. Sunil ji, I request you to honor Sachin Garg ji. Delhi. Noida. And I'd like to close the session and present a vote of thanks with the words of Kritagnata, Kritagna, and gratitude to our founder. I'd like to repeat the words. Mr. Vinayji addressed the session regarding paying the gratitude towards the founder members, and it was followed by our president, who shared the fond memories he had during the lifetimes of Mr. P.C. Goyal. And they were quite, they took us to that era when we were not there. And the session of the speech of ED Santosh Kumar Shukla ji took us around how the regulators are viewing this development of the profession of valuer and where they see the future challenges lie, be it the technology, be it the ESG sector, and the avenues. He focused on the avenues for the valuation and the need for the valuation standards development for India. So, valuation standards development has been the focus of the day, which was covered by almost all the panelists who have been here. Mr. Pichaiya, Abhay Kumar ji, Sakesh ji, Rajiv ji. We will have to measure the valuations of IBC against any other valuation also against the standards, and there is a need for Indian national standards, and our team is working on that. So our panelists are focusing on that, and launch of this Ekta software, which where eValo have worked in collaboration with IOV, and we wish him success, and we hope that it enrolls a large number of valuers, and valuers get a feel of what lies ahead and how to go forward in their practices. And Sunil ji, thank you very much for such a lively session and involving all. And thank you, Vaibhav ji, for informative session on export and import and new avenues. I would thank Abhay ji, Pichaiya ji, Saket Singhal for highlighting the challenges that are there in the valuation practices, the way they are being done, and what actually happens and what people presume it to be. And Rajiv ji, you have always been a great teacher, and today also you highlighted very, very uh, niche, very, things which others do not comprehend. So we thank you for your time and your inputs and guidances given to the valuers. With that, I would like this session I would like the session to close and suggest you to move towards this canteen area for the high tea. It's been a long session, and thank you all. Thank you for participating. There'll be a national anthem before we move out of here. Do I have to sing? Okay. So, okay, we are singing the national anthem, so kindly be straight. I'm singing, starting it. जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ आशीष मांगे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाए तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय 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 भारत माता की।
सर वो ग्रुप फोटो के लिए कह रहा है, एक बार आप लोग